I will kick off with some really interesting questions.
Sounds good.
All right. So for those of you who just joined and this is the first time you see me, I'm Anthony. I'm here with me, David. I'm sure most of you know David more than you know me.
Not at all. You're so humble.
Right. So I've been running this very interesting project called First Digital Dollar Project, and um the idea is while the whole internet basically everybody is over glorifying 10K per month, 20K per month, 50K per month. I want to shift our focus a little bit to all our first digital dollar, right? So it doesn't matter how much a solopreneur is earning now. There is a period of time whereby they are every day they are questioning whether whatever they are doing is right or wrong. And I can safely say for myself that the shift from um, from uncertainty and unsure to it can work. The turning point is really the point when we actually earn our first digital dollar. And that point is really a very interesting point whereby our mindset shift. It becomes, am I doing this correctly? To this can be done. And the moment we 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 truly believe that it can be done, then everything starts moving forward, right? So I just want to celebrate this moment, and I want to. This is the reason I'm bringing this series. It runs from January to June this year, right? I'll be talking to 20 different solopreneurs from all different genres, and all 20 of them have different offers, different pathways, different products that they are selling. And the purpose is for you to know that um, actually in the digital world, anything can be done, right? I think the gist of it is you must know, you must you just need to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And then yeah, so I have here with me David. I'm sure all of you here know him. There are 20 of you here now. Some fun facts. I When I first joined Substack back in 2024 April, um David is one of the first accounts I followed. Right. So there's a few names that you all definitely will know. The first few names I follow is David, Maya, Christina God, Veronica, and Yana. Or I'm sure all of you know them.
Okay.
Right. Right. So in fact this is the second live. The first live was I think David was kind enough um to invite me to his podcast for a quick chit chat, and then after that I'm still in touch with David, and then here it is. Thank you, the 22 of you, 23 of you here, and then David, maybe I give pass over to you to have a quick intro about yourself,
Yeah, sure.
David.
Yeah. Well, very welcome everyone who's already here. If you're from my audience, you're very welcome, and for Fernie's audience, hello. Make sure when you're here to subscribe to Fernie's publication up at the top of the screen before you go, and yeah, and drop any questions for either of us into the comments as we have this chat. But yeah, and Fernie, thanks so much. Really cool to have you on my podcast a few months ago. We had a great conversation then, which I really enjoyed. As Fernie says, my name is David McIlroy. I've been on Substack for nearly 3 years now, so coming up to 3 years in the summer, which is cool. And I write publications about solopreneurship, about writing for a living, and then just about anything else that comes into my head. So I love movies and books and things like that as well. So I'll frequently talk about that sort of stuff too. But I guess for our conversation today, it's really about the solo journey that we've been on as business people and how we got started on that. So I'll let Fernie take over in terms of the questions for this now, and he can guide the conversation.
Yeah. All right. So just like every other week on on Tuesdays, we always have you guys will see the post of the contributor, and then either the Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, I'll invite the same person to come on live with me, and then what it means is that if you haven't read David's post about his first digital dollar, after this live, feel free to go to over to Solopreneur Code and have a read. It's very interesting, and this is why it leads to my first question about this very interesting first sale,
Yeah.
right? Um, so in the first sale, you say you're pitching about this track NI. Yeah, you want to tell us a bit about that? I was
Yeah.
like very intrigued with how you come up with the idea.
Yeah. Yeah, so Trek NI is basically a website that promotes places to walk and hike around Northern Ireland, where I'm from. And then as part of that, we also give local businesses a chance to promote themselves to our audience on social media and on our website and through email. So kind of a multifaceted thing. But it wasn't always quite as polished as that. It used to be just a very, very basic like blog kind of style website. So at the time, whenever it was starting to kind of take off and get more traction. And this was back in the day whenever Instagram was easier to grow on and things like that. So my audience was getting bigger on social media. Um, I decided I wanted to start monetizing it in some way and bringing some income in through this sort of side project at the time. Um, and the first digital dollar or first digital pound, I guess, for me here in the UK was whenever I started reaching out to people to offer them a chance to have a listing, like an Airbnb or a Booking.com style listing on this website of mine. And I think in the post that I wrote for Anne Fernie, you can read about it in more detail, but it was basically from a phone call with somebody. So back in the day, whenever you picked up a phone and actually rang somebody and tried to sell them
I
something in
couldn't
that way.
imagine. I couldn't
Yeah,
imagine doing that.
I couldn't do it anymore, like, but, that's where the first sort of income essentially from this business of mine came from, so, that was a fun way to start.
And then I wanted to ask you, how many calls you made?
I probably made dozens at the start, and it took a long time before I got the first yes. I definitely had people who just straight up told me no immediately as soon as I started talking about it. And I was really bad at it. I'm a better speaker now than I was then. I'm more confident now than I was then. So I would definitely I stumbled my way through those first few conversations, and it wasn't great. I'm not surprised I said no looking back on it. But whenever you get your first yes, even if it's over the phone, even if it's for not that much money, it really does make a big difference. And as you mentioned at the start and Fernie already, it really does boost your confidence and it changes your mindset around what you're able to do, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I want to challenge you to remember your what you goes through your mind. I mean, for all of us, it's always easy to say, "Oh, just persevere," on hindsight,
Mm.
right? And then now, if I bring you back to the moment that before you got your first sale, what if you can remember what made you persevere?
Persevere, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I think it was probably this was sort of like early 2020, so this was around the time the pandemic was just starting to hit. So I think, I was in the midst of this sort of transition between being a freelance writer and then wanting to have my own kind of business. So I think on some level there was kind of a not desperation, but there's a real drive to make sure that I could generate income because I just taken this big leap to start trying to do stuff on my own terms. So I kind of had to make it work. Initially, I couldn't really just leave it and hope for the best. It had to work then, otherwise it was never going to work. But I think I just learned over time as a freelance writer, hearing no a lot to like the pitches you would have put out there for writing projects. That unless you keep going, you're never going to see any kind of success. So, I really do think that it was a combination of desperation in some ways, and I just become resistant to the no's, and I've become more resistant to no now at this point. I can no's bounce off me like bullets at this point. So, yeah, bullets off Superman, I should say.
Yeah, because I've talked to I think 7 or 8 um solopreneurs before you already, and then there's this question I always ask, which I'll ask you now is like, um you know, there's a very thin line between, oh, I should pivot now, as
Mm,
compared to let me persevere and press on,
Mm.
right? So I mean, now that you're an experienced solopreneur already, uh, do you think there is a very clear line between, oh, let's jump off and pivot to something, versus I will stick to this for another 3 months, or then after 3 months do I continue? There's a lot of questions
Mm.
floating in the mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So do you have any advice for the
yeah,
viewers?
yeah. Well, you mentioned a good point there because you said about sticking with it for like 3 months, that kind of thing. I
Yeah.
think if you can give yourself a time frame or a certain number of repetitions or iterations or something before you give up on it, or decide if you're gonna pivot, I think that's a good way to think about it because, if you just go by each individual phone call, for instance, or each individual email that you send, at any point, you could decide I'm gonna give up. I've had a bad day. Something else has happened today that's put me in a bad mood. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm gonna give up. Whereas if you say I'm gonna do this 50 more times or 100 more times or for 6 more months or 12 more months, at least you can say on the bad days, well, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna keep going for this duration of time. Um, I think I read, I can't remember who it was said it, but it was a solopreneur said one time that he always did something 100 times before he gave up on it or pivoted. And I've been trying to take that on board as well. I did like 100 editions of my roundup post on Substack before I decided to pivot away from that. I'm going to do at least 100 episodes of my podcast before I decide if I'm going to keep going with it or not. I probably will because I really enjoy it. But it's that sort of thing where if you give yourself that time frame, it makes it a lot more strategic and systematic for you.
Yeah. So I think, like what you say, the magic number is 100.
Yeah, very much so.
I think also, when you done enough, then you also gain a certain insight about
Yep.
what you're doing, and then that insight coupled with the experience that you have done through that whatever time period that requires to cover that 100 cadence.
Yeah.
Right? I think the collective knowledge and the experience gain, will then give you a better insight of whether it is a better move to just pivot or continue. I
Yep.
think this is also what a lot of people, some of the people, they didn't manage to do. They sometimes, they after 1 week they say, ah, no result, let me try
Mm,
something new. I think, um, yeah, but I even for me, I couldn't put um to me it's very difficult to draw a line between, say, oh, when I cross this line I shall do this,
mm.
right? It's really a personal choice, but I think what you said about 100 is a good, uh
Yeah. Yeah,
is
100
a good amount.
yeah, yeah, and you're so right because, whenever you do something for a longer period, it gives you more data to work with, so you can make a more informed choice about
Yeah.
whether or not you should keep going or not because I could have 10 conversations or send 10 direct messages, for instance, to people about an offer and really get no response, or I could send 100 messages and get a few people coming back, and one of those people could be like a life-changing kind of client, that kind of thing, for instance, but I wouldn't have known that if I'd stopped after 10. So I think if you can give yourself enough time to work with something, give yourself enough data to work with, then you can make a more informed decision about it.
Mm, right. So guys, everybody just remember, use 100. Right. I this one I remember because when I first started writing my first post, oh yeah, and I also want to thank David, because David was the very first person who asked me for guest posts back when I first started.
It was great.
So, um for those of you who just started, go and collaborate with as many people as you can. I think that's one of the best ways to grow our Substack.
Yep.
Right. So when I first started, I told myself I must write 100 posts before I even decide whether I want to give up or not.
Mhm. Yep.
And then fast forward today, I think I already hit 300 posts already. Right.
Good.
So yes, I persisted.
Brilliant.
Okay, so there's another. The next question is, I want you to walk us through the first, the moments before you down that first number. Um, how prepared were you?
In some respects, I was quite prepared because I knew what I was gonna say, I had it laid out, I knew what the offer was gonna be. But in many other respects, I wasn't prepared at all because as soon as the conversation starts, all your preparation kinda goes out the window, if that makes sense. So, you do kind of if the person doesn't respond in the way you think they're gonna respond, you can kind of panic, and it can fluster you, and especially if you're introverted like I am, it's very hard to be, really jazzed about it and excited. So uh, when you do anything, I think like if we go live on Substack, if we do a podcast episode, with you and I, and Fernie, we know how it's going to go because we know each other. But if it's with somebody that you don't know, that conversation can go any direction. It can just pivot at any moment, and you have to be ready to accept that pivot and go with it. I think it's the same on a phone call. You have to always listen out for, and I've learned this, listen out for any signals or questions or concerns the person has, and try and address those. Even if you have like points you want to hit, address those kind of things first of all. Go with the way the person is going, go with the way your conversationalist is going. Try and let them dictate it to some extent, and then bring it back to your main point if you need to. It's hard to do that because and it does require practice. It's the same like going live on Substack, but yeah, very much so. You can prepare as much as you want. It will always go differently than you expect when you pick up the phone.
That's Murphy's law in its best at its
Yes.
best. Right. Oh yeah, for the 40 of you, for those who just joined us, this is the first digital dollar project that I'm running, and I have here with me David. If you haven't, I'm sure you know him, but you haven't subscribed to him, please subscribe to him. And then we are now currently actually talking about his journey of getting his first digital dollar. So there's actually continuation from just now, the one that I asked you the first call. In the post you talk about there's this guy who cut you off midway, right?
Mm.
Yeah. So how do you feel immediately like after the call?
Oh, you feel so bad. Yeah, you just feel like a little kid again in school who's just been told off by the teacher because, yeah, because this person has just decided that you're not worth talking to. And it is very, very hard to pick yourself up again after that
Yep.
happens. It's very, very hard mentally to just kind of move on to the next call. I'm sure I didn't do another call after that day, after that happened, because it's very hard. But again, I think this comes with practice. The more no's you hear, the more resistant you become to those no's. The more you can learn to extract the data from them rather than just accept the pain, like mentally and emotionally that comes with someone saying no. You start to understand more about what your audience actually want, um, and then you can use that data in the next conversation that you move on to, and that gives you a more informed approach.
Yep. Because I asked that question because I'm sure for those of you here who are into any form of business online, of course for David's case is a bit more direct because because he was talking to the fella and then the fella just cut him off. But for the majority of us, maybe we send a DM to someone and then we got rejected. I think it's very important that same goes for me. If I got rejected, I probably will not do another outreach on that same day.
Mhm.
I will just okay, today is not a good day. I will just stop for a while.
Yeah, and that's okay. I think it's important to do that. You have to give yourself a chance to recover,
Yeah.
because your next call will not go well either if you're going into with that kind of
Correct,
mindset.
because you had that that feeling or that
Yeah,
I think it will hang in your head for quite some time,
yeah,
right? So I think but you what you say is correct. I think we should shift the mindset towards rejection and turn into lessons learned
yeah,
or data, right? And then it's easier said than done. Of course, I agree with everybody. Everybody must be saying, "Ah, yeah, it's so easy to say." Like I think, but we should always try. I think it's very important that we shift that whatever we learn, the rejection, the whatever negative comments that we receive, and then we turn it into um, a lesson learned, the data. I can personally remember there was once there's a comment in my Gumroad. They this Someone gave me a 1 star for a lead magnet. He didn't pay for it,
Mhm.
and then and I forgot the exact words, but he was commenting about something that he didn't know how to do. Right. So after I read the comment, I was like pretty upset because it's like, oh man, you don't know how to do and you blame me for,
Mm,
you don't know how to you don't know how to duplicate that template, and then you blame me for that
mm.
for that thing. And then yeah, so
Hard.
yeah, I was feeling quite bad about it as well.
Mm,
Yeah, so yeah, I think it's very important for all of us to take it as a lesson learned, right?
yeah,
And then try to be better, learn from it, and then what else can I improve on and stuff like that. I think that's very important, right?
yeah.
So, David, what about your current business, your book sales? Do you have any rejections you've been
With
through?
with with books?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a whole other rejection story right there. Yeah, because I like a lot of writers, a lot of, book writers, I went through a phase of trying to get an agent, literary agent, and that involved sending many, many emails and letters to agents, pitching them as a potential client. I think I sent hundreds of those query letters and probably got hundreds of rejections. There's no response whatsoever. So that was really, really tough because, as any writer will tell you, your book is like your baby, and you think it's the best thing ever, and you can't
Yes.
understand why somebody else wouldn't think that about it. So, it's very hard to be rejected. So yeah, that was painful as well. And something I should mention actually as part of this is even if you become accustomed to being rejected in business or writing or whatever it is, there are still times when a rejection will knock you on your butt. It will totally surprise you. You won't see it coming. It'll be like the same as every other rejection you already received, but for whatever reason, it will just knock you out for the day. I don't think it ever gets easier. You sort of get accustomed to it, but sometimes it will totally take you by surprise. So, if that does happen, if you do experience a rejection that does knock you out for the day, it really does knock you off your game. As we mentioned, give yourself a chance to recover from it. Take a day off after that if it happens, and just let your mind recover. Yeah, how do you feel about that, Fernie? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, yeah, I would even add on that sometimes you might even get knocked down, and then you will not even physically realize that it has that effect.
Yeah,
Right?
very much.
You feel something is wrong, but you didn't know that it is because of that bad review or rejection,
Yeah,
and it subtly changes your entire day's mood and your ability to focus on doing something else.
yeah,
And I would say that is the most dangerous because you didn't actively realize that it is there. I think that is something that is far more dangerous than than knowing that you got a rejection.
yeah. It almost like burrows into your brain and just kind of like stays there. That feeling that you got
Yes.
from
Yes.
being rejected, and then, as you said, you don't know what's there, and it can kind of resurface at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes it will affect the rest of your work,
Yes.
right? Then maybe you for your case, maybe you don't feel like writing for that day already. Even though you know there are two different things.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. For me I probably don't want to post notes anymore. I'll just
Yeah. You're not feeling creative after it.
yeah, maybe that's the way. Yeah. But anyway, all of you must learn how to just wing it and then just treat it as a lesson learned.
Mm,
Um, I read this somewhere before. Is just don't treat it personally. I
yeah,
think just treat it as someone commenting about this thing that has got nothing to do with you.
yeah,
And then I think it's one of the trick that can subconsciously trick your mind to overcoming. I think that's one way, right?
yeah,
Okay, so
definitely.
there is another question that you say you charge $150 to $200 if you could do it again in a post. That
Mm,
was the interesting one as well.
mm,
What changed what changed you that made you realize that $50 was too low for that
mm.
uh, particular?
Yeah, well, I think I just realized that in terms of, first of all, in terms of the business reach that it had on social media and the website, it had definitely outgrown that initial kind of offer, and also it was to do with the amount of effort that I put into it. So it involved a lot of work that I was putting in. So because of those two things, I realized I need to increase the offer, and it's obviously a lot more now than it was back then. And I think that's important for us as well as solopreneurs is to value yourselves properly. I think at the start, it's good to have a lower offer at the beginning and maybe do some things for free to kind of get your foot in the door a little bit. But I think after a point, you have to be willing to accept that you're worth more than what you might have been a few years ago, and be willing to raise your prices and be willing to say no to opportunities that come along because you want to focus on other things instead. Um, I think as you grow and as your business grows, your rates should grow alongside that. I think it's always good to have a smaller offer as well as bigger offers as well, because everyone, your audience are across a range of budgets and things like that. So you want to try and cater to everybody if you can. But there'll be someone in your audience who can't afford to pay $50 or maybe even less than that, but there'll be somebody else who could afford to pay $5,000 and it wouldn't phase them at all. So you have to have an offer that can kind of reach everybody, I think.
Yeah, yeah, the reason I'm asking is because I think uh, pricing our product is something that everybody is um, is cannot wrap their mind around with.
Mm,
I think pricing a product accurately is very difficult.
yeah.
Um, Even for myself, I think even until now, I, I don't. If you ask me to price my product based on its value and price a product based on what I think my audience are willing to pay, I think even at now, after being a solopreneur for more than 3 years, I still price it based on what I think my target audience are able to pay
Mm,
or are willing to pay. Yeah.
mm,
So I don't answer that for that because even for now I think value is a very subjective uh,
yeah, it
concept.
is.
So and everybody will always think that they value they they
Yeah,
they they are very high value.
yeah,
Right.
yes,
Yeah. So any advice on pricing
yeah.
uh for the folks here?
Yeah, I think, as I said, I think just having a range of different offers, instead of just focusing entirely on one thing is helpful. Even if you had essentially one offer, but it was split into maybe like different packages. So let's say you were a coach, for instance, you might have three different coaching offers that maybe cater to different budgets or what people need at the time. But definitely, I think start with something small. Start with like a $10 offer if you can, and then build your way up to something much more substantial, and then just try and create opportunities for people to find those offers in different ways, and then to interconnect those offers if you can. So everything feels like a logical next step. That your $10 offer, the next step is maybe your $50 one, and then to your $100 offer, and then et cetera, et cetera. So that people can stick with you in that journey. I think.
Yeah. I also want to add on. David mentioned something about starting off. Sometimes can you might need to be free. I think I will want to expand on that. I think if especially if you are in the service, your product is a service, right? I think, and if you have no track record, no testimonials, I think the best way to get your foot in is to offer your service for free.
Mm,
That's my personal point of view.
yeah.
Um, I mean, ideally, nobody rejects a free offer. I I don't think anyone rejects a free offer,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
so I think that's the best way to get your foot in. For those of you who does service related stuff like for example ghostwriting, copywriting. I think for me like personally, I think it's uh, the first few. Okay, so how the sequence should be, if I have no clients at all, I should offer the first 5 to 10 free, and then from that 5 to 10, I get the testimonies and feedback, and then I improve on it, and then the next step I will offer at a very pretty low rate, because I also want to do some testing, and then as I go along, I get more testimonies, more feedback, and then I improve on on my service better. I improve on the framework, I improve on the timeline, I improve on the transformation, the guarantees, and then I slowly increase the price. I think for me personally, that's the step that
Yeah.
I will take. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's important to be really, really clear with anyone you give something away to for free at the start that you expect feedback and a testimony after it. Don't give it away for free and then afterwards ask them for testimony. Say, I'm going to give this to you for free, but I want you to give me a testimonial afterwards to tell me what you thought of it. Just so that you don't waste your time and you don't waste anybody else's time. But you're so right, Fernie. I think that that's the real key at the start is getting that feedback, getting that social proof, because then that will lead to then your paid sales after that point. But yeah, that was a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So guys, if you are doing service related stuff, I think you kind of skip the first few frees.
Yeah.
But I think even product we do. I mean, I sell digital products. I sell templates, Notion related templates. I sell even ebooks. Especially for Notion templates, I even for now, when I created a new Notion system, I actually offer it for free to around 10 to 20 of my existing clients, right? And then, like what you said, David, this is very important, guys. Make sure they sort of promise you that they will give you a testimony. Although, from my experience, there's a 50% chance you'll be ghosted.
Yeah. That my experience too.
It's about 50-50,
Yeah.
right? So cater it. So the reason why I reach out to 20 is because I expect to receive around 10 to 12 feedbacks. And then yes, and then you build up
Mm.
from the 10 feedbacks, and then you use the 10 feedbacks as social proof, price it a little bit, maybe $10, like what you say, $10, and then then you continue to ramp it up. I think
Mm.
this is something that a lot of people, they just don't do,
Yeah.
which I think is a very missed first step.
Yeah. I agree.
Right.
Mm.
Tell us more about your process of writing your book. How
Yeah.
do you ramp up? Because your book only has one price, but of course you initially you definitely have uh some people who like read through a book and then give you testimony, and you can put it as social proof. Do you do
Yeah.
that as well?
Yeah. Well, in terms of books, so what I will do is what we said, I'll give away a lot of free copies at the start, digital copies, so they're free to me as well. And I will ask for reviews for the book and feedback. And one of the best places to do that is on TikTok or YouTube potentially as
Oh,
well.
really? TikTok?
Yeah,
TikTok
yeah,
is
because people will they'll give you a review on like say Goodreads or Amazon, but then they'll also create video content for your
oh,
book.
that's interesting.
Yeah, on
Actually, this is the
TikTok.
first time I hear that
Yeah,
TikTok.
yeah. So it's been really really effective for me. So it basically means that for someone like me who isn't always that like bubbly and charismatic in front of the camera, other people who are like that, who are naturally drawn to being on
Yeah.
things like TikTok, they can make really awesome content about your book and talk about it in a really positive way. And then you can share that to your audience, and then they share that to theirs as well. So, for your books, if you're writing a book and you're in this chat today, watching this video, give away free copies at the start. Ask for testimonies and feedback, and then the same can be applied for just digital products and that sort of thing as well. Give away free stuff and then try and get some testimonies. And if you can create any kind of video testimony, so if you can interview somebody who's tried your product, like on a live like this, for instance, or just a call, that's amazing content. That's amazingly powerful, more powerful than just a written testimony, if you can talk to someone about it and get them to share, then that's really effective. I've seen that in real time, in a session I did recently in a masterclass where some people just of their own volition shared their thoughts on what it was like to work with me as a coach, or what it was like to be in my community, that kind of thing. And as off the back of that, I organically got a few more people signing up to it, and I hadn't asked them to do it; they just did it of their own volition, which was great. So, if you can get real time video, verbal, audio feedback, it's so powerful alongside your text feedback as well.
And yeah, actually you gave me a very good idea now.
Did I?
I was like thinking just I think I will do all the testimonial via Substack Live.
Mm, good idea.
You gave me a really good idea. I am going to do that. I'm going to do that. All right.
Yeah.
So you let us hop to the chat a little bit. All right. So for guys, the 54 of you are here. Feel free to just type any questions do you have. Brandon say offering limited time deals sometimes works too. I fully agree. But I think the the solopreneur the life cycle is very important. Whether you are the initial part of it or you are already a very established you have some established products and you have some established branding that already people know you. I think there's a huge difference between these two. If you are new, just be blunt. If you are new, really nobody cares.
Let's try.
It doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter whatever urgency copies you can come up with, whatever hooks you can come up with. Your hook can be the best hook the world has ever seen, but if you are very new, nobody cares,
Mm,
right? So I think this is very important that all of us must realize. Um, so so it really depends on the life cycle of the your particular branding, right? And then I think Brandon also say this is something for you, David. He said, "Don't sell yourself short, David. You are full of bubbles and like."
thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. Okay.
Right. Okay. So feel free to ask us any questions during the live by typing it out. On and off or hop back here. All right. So next question. After the second and the sales that you have back in the days. Oh, by the way, do you still do track NI?
Yeah, still going, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're still doing it.
Yeah, yeah. One of my income
All
stream.
right, that's very interesting. Okay, so after you got the second and third sales, um, did the fear, are the fear still there? Do you still have that
Yeah.
questionable moments?
Oh, yeah, of course. I have different ways of approaching potential partners now. For that, I don't really do it on the phone anymore. Um, but sometimes you do still have phone calls where someone want to just talk about it before they make a decision, which is totally fair. And you still, I'm better at it now than I used to be, but you still find yourself in this position where you're having to think on your feet and you remember what it was like when you first started speaking on the phone to people, and you're trying to remember all the like, not the tricks, but the little mindset thing systems you can use whenever you're speaking to someone on the phone to persuade them that you're a good fit for them. But yeah, it's easier now because a lot of it's more email based or direct message based than it used to be. Direct messages are, I still think, one of the absolute best ways to approach people about things and to start conversations and to sell things ultimately. So, if you're not using direct messages right now, definitely consider it as part of your strategy. But yeah, the fear never really goes away, and for me, it's always still kind of there in the background on some level.
I'm a 100% introvert.
Mm.
Okay. And I heard you say you're introvert as well. Um, it scares me to call people.
Yeah, yeah. Scares me too.
I would rather DM 100 people than to talk to one person.
Yeah, me too.
Right. So any advice for the introverts out there?
Mm. Yeah, well, yeah, so in terms of if you're
Do you
speaking
have
to
the
someone.
tiny little paper clips that you hold in your hand and
Oh, yeah, 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 I should have one of those, yeah, make it easier. But yeah, no, I think if you're speaking to someone and you're introverted, um, the best thing to do is to, just go slow, just take your time, don't try to rush it, don't be afraid to not speak, so as in, let the other person talk to themselves about it. So, if they're kind of having a bit of a conversation, talking back and forth, trying to decide if they're gonna go with your offer or not, don't feel like you need to jump in and try and interject. Just let them have that conversation as much as you possibly can. And also just be super candid about it. Be very, very honest about things and try and be funny and try and find uh real genuine connections and common ground with the person you're speaking to as well. Be interested in the person you're speaking to, pick up on anything that they say. So if they mention something about where they live or about their pet or about their child or something like that, try and remember that information, and try and bring it back to that if you can, ask questions about it. Um if they can feel like you're having a conversation with them, not just trying to sell them something, they're far more likely to be receptive to what you're saying. So treat them like a human, and they'll treat you like a human, and the conversation will be a lot easier than it could have been otherwise.
nice. Thanks for the advice. I was I'm taking some notes here as well. Okay, so with all your experience that you gained over the years, how would you advise the David back then?
Back then. Well, I would tell them to join Substack a lot earlier for a start, because I'd always heard of it, but never ever actually joined it until 2023. So tell myself to start that process earlier, start building an email list earlier as well. But in terms of being a solopreneur, I think I don't regret anything about the way my journey went because it taught me so much, and informed me and helped me to be able to do what I do now. But if I could speak to myself back then, I would say think bigger than I did at the start. So have bigger targets, bigger dreams. So hard to do that at the start when you're just getting into it, because you don't believe in yourself enough in the early days. You just can't think that way. Even now, I have like big targets, and I still struggle to sort of imagine myself getting there, but you have to. Um, so I think if you can think in terms of the next 10 years rather than the next 10 months or the next 10 weeks as well, that's really, really important. If you can say, I'm going to stick at this for the next decade and really work at it and really build something real, rather than just try and get a quick buck or a quick pound, it's going to serve you a lot better and it'll serve your audience and it'll serve the people you work with a lot better as well if you've got a long term mindset. So I think I would definitely reach back in time and shake myself by the throat and tell myself that just be in it for the next 10 years if you can.
Yeah. For me, I have this, uh, I can fully understand. I can even remember, um, the 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 Anthony that before he earned his first digital dollar and after here, and the mindset change was very drastic. And I would say the he before I earned my first digital dollar, um, the whole time in my mind, I keep questioning, is it even possible to earn? Is everybody scamming me? I see I see all the 10,000, 10K per month, 20K per month. I say, oh, okay, so how come everybody's earning 10K and then here I am, without my first sale, am I even doing it correctly?
Mm.
Okay, did the checkout work correctly? Right. So I think that it's very important that I mean, to be fair, everybody will have that feeling. No, and it will be very unfair for me to say that it does it, you should just you should just uh, forget about that feeling. I think nobody uh, can
Mm.
get rid of it. Um, so for me, I think one of the best way is to do whatever it takes um, to quickly earn your first digital dollar.
Mm.
For those of you who haven't do anything, or you have been trying the past few months, but you couldn't get a sale, or you got a sale, but the last sale was like last year October, right? And then I would say do whatever it takes to get the next sale.
Mm,
Of course, still easier than done, said than done, but I think it's very important to consistently keep having something to boost your mindset.
mm.
What do you think, David?
Yeah, I agree. I think, rather than wallow on the first thing, either wallow if it didn't go well, or just spend all your time celebrating if it did go well, and just immediately move on to the next thing, as you said. It's the same as writing a book. If you finish writing a book and you get it out there, the worst thing you can do is just spend all your time watching your sales or reviews or things like that. Just move on to the next book and start writing
Mhm.
it straight away. And it's the same with making your next dollar, as you said, Fernie. It's try and see how you can get the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. Just keep taking those little baby steps every day until it starts to become easier and more of a rhythm, and you see the snowball starting to roll down the hill. But yeah, just keep moving. It's good advice.
Yeah, I think I mean that's for me. Um it I can fully understand and imagine that if you have sales like last year October, and then since then until now you haven't got any sale, I think it'd be quite terrible.
Mm,
Then the mindset start okay. Oh, should I do something? Am I doing it wrong? Should I pivot? Should I stop doing it? Should I just go back to a corporate boring 9 to 5 job? Right. So I think it is something that we have to overcome with, and then we have to be. I think being in the know of how you feel is very important,
mm,
right? The knowing that you are feeling that way is very important.
yep.
And I think a lot of times people don't know that they are feeling that way.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, so I think this is something that all of us must be be very aware of our own mind, be very aware of our own feelings,
Yep.
right? So we're approaching towards the end of the life. The last question I always ask is uh for those who are here and they are some of them are struggling getting their first sale. Some of them are struggling to like, keep consistent sales of whatever they are doing, be it service, digital product, writing a book. What mindset advice would you want to give them, David?
Yeah, I think try and give yourself smaller goals initially. So I talked about having this like 10-year mindset, and I think you should kind of try and be on something for the long term, but give yourself shorter term goals as well that you can hit. So instead of thinking about the next 6 months, think about the next month or even the next couple of weeks. And just basically say, here are like 5 things I want to do in that time period. And if I can do those 5 things, then I can move on to the next 5 things or the next 10 things after that. um, it's so hard in the beginning, I think, whenever you are just starting out and everybody else seems to be doing so well, and you don't know how to yeah, you don't know how to get there to that point yourself. Um, Make it easy, make it attainable in the beginning, build up your confidence, get accustomed to achieving things and being able to tick things off on your schedule. And that will really help you whenever you get more advanced in your solopreneurial journey. And as much as you possibly can, learn from other people, but don't watch closely what they're doing. Don't watch their trajectory. Don't watch how many subscribers they have or how much money they're making or that kind of thing. Try and focus as much as you possibly can on your own journey, because that really is the only one that's gonna matter to you longer term. But yeah, shorter term goals, focus on your own thing.
All right, thank you so much. Any one of you have any questions for David? All right, it
You're a good
is.
interviewer, on for, and I really appreciate this. Good fun. Love this chat. And also, I think you mentioned me at the start, but what time did you say it is with you right now?
It is now 1:50 a.m.
1:50 AM. So I just want to say, and Fernie accommodated me very much so in this chat by moving it later, like 2 hours later for him, I think, at the time. And I didn't realize it was going to be so early in the morning for you. So I really appreciate
Oh,
this.
it's all right. It's all right.
The kind of guy this person is, you know? Good
It's
guy.
all right. It's all right. No, it's really a pleasure talking to you. Uh, so
Same.
it's having. Bright says planning short. Yeah, yeah, planning short goals. I think I think David summarized it very well. And so if so for those who just join, no worries. The rule of thumb for me is very simple. After this live, within the next 24 hours, it will be sent out to the email. So for those of you who have not subscribed to me, please subscribe to me. Of course, you have to subscribe to David, this wonderful Substack writer. He's my, again, I have to emphasize, he's one of the first few accounts I followed when I first joined Substack back in April 2024. For
Appreciate that.
thank you for your time, David.
Thank you,
All
Bernie.
right. Thank you everybody for joining us. Stay tuned for the next contributor next week again. And then this first digital dollar project will go on until June. And then David, I was also planning for a massive gathering of all the 20 solopreneurs
Mm,
in a Google
nice.
Meet,
Okay,
right?
cool.
So I'll let you know, and then we see we can everyone come together. It will be a tough one because the time zone is a is a
Yeah,
problem.
hard to work that one out.
Yeah. So we'll try to work something out. All right. So thank
Good.
you for your time, David. Thank you for joining me. Thank you everybody for coming, for joining us, and then I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Thanks, Bernie. Bye-bye.
Bye.